Hello, hello everyone. Adjust this camera a little bit like always. Okay. Gonna give a couple minutes for people to pop on, but just for those that might be kind of rewatching this later. Today I'm going to be talking about herbal healing and getting into herbalism a little bit here. So some of these herbs that I'm going to talk about will carry in store. Some of them we will not. Some of the things are easy. Some are going to be a little bit more advanced. So but I'll definitely focus on the ones that I think majority of people can do. All right, I see a few already joining here. So if you didn't hear me, we're going to be talking about herbal healing and getting into some herbalism today. A lot of the herbs that I'm going to talk about are going to be ones that you could actually forage on your own. Of course, when you do that, please make sure that you're taking all the necessary precautions. And I'm actually going to preface this before I say anything else. Before you use any of these herbs for any sort of healing, whether it be external, internal, any of it, please make sure that you know what you're doing. Talk to a doctor about it, consult a medical professional, and don't just like stop taking medications or things like that. It's really important that you know how these herbs will interact with medications. Hi, Larry. Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you. The reason being, too, is a lot of the medications that we use are really derived from herbs in general. So they do interact with each other, not always in the best way. So it's important to make sure that you're, like I said, taking the necessary precautions, consulting your doctor, all of that before you ingest or use these topically, okay? So I have quite a few books that I selected that are my personal favorites here in the store that I use quite often. And I have made recipes from quite a bit of them. The first one, though, I want to talk about, which this should be available on our website, but it is the Backyard Herbal Apothecary. So this book is probably the like holy grail of beginner books when it comes to herbalism. The reason being, it is so inclusive. Okay, so it tells you like everything that you need to know. It tells you how to make them. It tells you how to forage the herbs. It tells you different ways to infuse herbs. So and then it gives you a whole bunch of different recipes as well. So here's the cover. I want to read his introduction here. This is the Backyard Herbal Apothecary by Devin Young. He is the founder of something called Nitty Gritty Life. I'm going to be honest, I have not checked into what that is, but I'm sure you could see that on social media. But anyway, this was his kind of dedication that he made for the book, and I really, really enjoyed it. It says, this book is dedicated to all the medicine people, wise women, herbalists, botanists, and conservationists, without which modern herbalism could not exist. We do not know your names or faces, but your contributions are innumerable. Your wisdom, culture, and tradition should be celebrated and held in the highest regard. I am humbled and forever your student. So the fact that they even like went into like the spiritual aspect of it, he talks about how this information has been passed down for, you know, thousands of years from what I understand. So this really, I loved the introduction to that. And Devin Young in general, just like the way he approaches the herbalism stuff in general. Okay, so this is the part that you're all going to probably want to read, because when I first looked into this stuff, it seems so overwhelming, right? It seems like I'm not going to have those herbs on hand, that it would take way too much time to make the tinctures, to make the salves, to make the infusions. And it's almost like we overcomplicate it. We're so detached from the way that we used to do it, right? Like this is something that everybody used to do. It was so simple. Even some people like dicing up an onion and putting it on your chest, making a poultice. Like this is stuff everybody did. It wasn't just medicine women. It wasn't just wise women. It was not just people who were, you know, considered a witch at the end of the day. Everybody did this because they used what they had. So, you know, anyway, going off on that tangent here. This page in the Backyard Herbal Apothecary on page 12, Devin Young goes over the herbal preparations. Okay, so he goes over the actual different methods of infusing things with herbs and different ways that you can use the herbs for your healing. So he goes over a tea, which we all know what a tea is. Okay, goes over the hot infusion, so it's prepared like tea, sort of. The thing with that though is sometimes that can actually take some of the nutrients out of it. The oil infusion method, the regular infusion, that's probably the one I use most commonly. Okay, so that's when you just have those dry herbs sitting in some kind of carrier oil, like olive oil or coconut oil, and you leave it for about 6 to 8 weeks, and then strain it out using some cheesecloth, and there you have it. So that's the easiest but not quickest way for you to infuse oils with herbs, but that's probably the easiest way that I use it. So the 6 to 8 weeks. Now, sometimes we all know you can't wait that long. Okay. So now this is what I did personally. I'm not telling anybody else to do this, but recently my son had an ear infection. I happen to have oregano oil on hand, which is antimicrobial and really great for tackling inflammation and stuff. So we used that, but I didn't have any mullein oil on hand. Bear in mind, when I'm saying all of this, I also took him to the doctor and got him some antibiotics. Okay, so this was not all I used to help, but these are herbs that you find in a lot of like the homeopathic options that they even sell at like CVS and Drug Mart and stuff like that. So anyway, I had the oregano oil made, but I did not have any of the of mullein oil left, which is really good for pain management. So with the hot infusion method, I was able to just like basically you put it in a water bath in a crock pot. That heat from the water on the outside of the jar will infuse that oil with the herbal properties a lot sooner. So typically between like 14 to 72 hours, depending on how long you really want to go. But that's an easier way. So, and again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, about the process of making herbal infusions, different options. If you have something that you're kind of wondering if there's a recipe for how to take care of it, like, please let me know. But those are like the oil infusion methods, right? Then there's the tinctures. So tinctures require alcohol in order to make those. So that's why they are not recommended for children, obviously, or anybody in recovery. And obviously watch how much you're drinking of it, okay? Because you can get drunk off of it. But tinctures are best for herbs that are fresh. They're best for fresh herbs because it lowers the chance of things spoiling, rotting, that kind of thing, okay? So tinctures are also great. A poultice is when you like mash up fresh herbs or dried ones with water and apply it to an infected area, wrap it in cloth. So that's kind of what I was talking about with the onion on your chest. Another option on your chest would be like a bee balm poultice that you can make for chest congestion. So there are a lot of different options and even just like topical options that you can use for herbal remedies. So, but that's the poultice. The salves and balms, that's probably one of my favorite things to make. And I was surprised because I thought that it would be the most complicated, but it was very, very easy. I wish I would have brought an example with me, but I made an Oregon grapefruit salve because my son has really dry skin and irritated skin. So that's supposed to be great for healing that. And that was a recipe that I got right out of this book. So when I tell you that this book, The Backyard Herbal Apothecary by Devin Young, has such a wealth of knowledge for people who want to get into herbalism, who want to use these tried and true ancient methods of healing alongside the Western medicine and normal treatment that you would receive from your doctor, like this is the book I'd recommend. I'm going to go into a whole lot of other ones, but I literally could talk about this one for ages because of how much information it has. So I kind of went into the types of preparations. I talked about how I made the Oregon grapefruit salve for my son and his irritated skin. But now, there are a whole bunch of other things here that you could use. So this one is wonderful. This is talking about wild ginger. So what I love about this book too, let me see if I can get it closer to you so you can really see, is tells you about the herb. It tells you about the history of the herb, all of the different properties it has, all the different healing properties it has, where you can find it, how long it's been used, how to identify it, if it's a perennial or an annual. I mean, it gives you all of this information, tells you best growing and harvesting methods, and also tells you safety and precautions. So that's another reason I really like this book, is because it tells you the different precautions you need to take. It tells you how it might interact with other things. Of course, don't use this as your sole reference, right, for how they might interact with each other. But it's an excellent, very, very thorough book here. So, and then that's talking about, again, this is the wild ginger. So, okay, so this is what I wanted to get to, because we're all pretty flippin' sick right now, right? Or at least we have been recently. So this is warming wild ginger rub for thick and heavy chests. So it is supposed to get stubborn chest congestion moving. Peppery, spicy aroma will clear your sinuses and bring healing circulation to the cold, clammy chest wall, all without the camphor burn of commercial chest rubs. So this is basically like Vicks Vapor Rub, but with ginger and natural, right? So I have not personally made this one yet, but I assume it's probably just as easy as that Oregon grapefruit one was, and definitely recommend making this if you've been ill. The other thing I want to say is, with making oil infusions, it's very, very important you use dried ones, because otherwise it will spoil. Like I said, you would make like a tincture if you want to use a raw or I don't want to say wet, but I can't think of another fresh. Thank you. Fresh herbs. This is comfrey root. So this is another one that's found pretty much everywhere. The other thing that I didn't even address with this book that I think is so cool goes into the types of areas that you find stuff, right? Healing. So this is forest and meadow dwellers. So it's telling you in this climate or in this area, this biome or whatever you want to call it, these are the types of herbs that are going to be found. This is what you can do with them. So, if you live by the woods, you live somewhere that you're going to be able to see all of these things. Okay, then this is the section I want to look at, right? So healing forest and meadow dwellers. So again, we go into the comfrey root. Tells you all about it. Now, this is a comfrey root salve for rough working hands. So if you're like me and you are married or partnered with somebody who is a mechanic or in some kind of field like that, or if you are yourself, it's an excellent way to take care of your hands, make sure they're not cracking. Furthermore, just this time of the year, our skin gets really dry. So the Oregon grapefruit that I was talking about for the ointment is also excellent for digestive wellness and fighting infections. Again, not to be used in the place of antibiotics or something like that, but definitely can be used alongside of it. Okay, so this is like grasslands and the sun. So sun worshippers to rejuvenate the mind and body. I also think it's kind of cool how, maybe I'm off by saying this, but I think it's cool that like the herbs that are found in different areas, like it kind of makes sense where they're found. So grassland's a really sunny area where they're getting a whole bunch of sun. They're sun worshipers. They love the sun. And it's supposed to rejuvenate your mind and body, which are definitely like sun qualities. So I think that's really cool. Echinacea, that's one, I hope I'm saying that right, but I'm 90% sure I am. That is one that is really well known and popular for its, let's see, it's antibacterial and anti-inflammatory, which I knew that, right? Antiseptic, antiviral. It's good for cardiovascular health. It's an immunostimulator. So maybe echinacea paired with elderberry would be excellent for if you're trying to boost your immune system. Also great for like lymphatic drainage, and you can use all different parts of that. So it talks about an immunity syrup that you can make, and also the tincture. We have yarrow here. So there's an all-purpose wound salve for yarrow. This is the one I did not get to try yet, but I definitely want to. So this is like a bergamot, not the bergamot peel, but bergamot leaf, also known as bee balm. Okay, so this is like a poultice you would use and put on your chest to like really get rid of that stubborn chest congestion. For anybody just joining, again, this is the Backyard Herbal Apothecary by Devin Young. I probably will be filming like a more formal review of this, but I think I'm just going to put it on the employee shelf anyway because it's one that I really do recommend to just about everybody. This is the mullein flower oil for achy ears. So this is the one that I was referencing before. If you're like me or like my son who gets chronic ear infections, this is a really great way to kind of help with the pain. Furthermore, you know, that oregano oil that I was talking about before is a great preventative measure. So if you know that you get sinus infections and you know that typically following that you get an ear infection, that would be an excellent way to stop that basically. This is super cool too. So dandelion root herbal coffee with burdock, chicory, and spices. The reason this is so cool is because I've talked about plenty of times, I put chicory, like ground up chicory root in my coffee and brew it all together because chicory magically is great for the removal of obstacles and frugality. It's also about getting things out of your way. So heck, why not put that with your coffee, right? Obviously, this would be much healthier for you than just drinking regular coffee, a lower caffeine content. I know, I'm speaking blasphemy right now, but this was really interesting to me. So chickweed. Chickweed is an excellent herb for your bladder, for your urinary tract, for your liver. Again, please speak with a physician before you use any of this for that. I'm just telling you the associations and the uses for these herbs. I'm not telling you to go out and use them. That is up to you. But for somebody who would get chronic UTIs, anything like that, again, that chickweed is really going to help with that, along with like some burdock root maybe. So, see, and then in this book too, and I'm going to say this because if you do get it, you're going to come across it. They talk about taking motherwort and they talk about taking St. John's wort for depression and anxiety. Something about that family of herbs does not react well with SSRIs, okay? So if you are on any type of antidepressant or really just any mental health medication in general, any medication really in general with St. John's wort, you shouldn't just take that willy-nilly. It really can have a serious interaction. So I always honestly just tell people to stay away from that, only because it can be so serious when they do interact. St. John's wort can also counteract your birth control. So, you know, accidental pregnancies, like serotonin syndrome. So, you know, I'm just going to say stay away from that one for the safety of everybody, right? Lavender and mugwort, saging sticks. They call them smudge sticks, but that's really not the right. Mugwort and lavender smoke cleansing sticks, I'll call. And it's for pleasant dreams. There's stuff about red clover in here. An herbal infusion for menopausal support. So, you know, to help ease some of the issues that you might have due to menopause, which I can only assume would also be perfect for like PMS symptoms, right? Premenstrual symptoms. So I'm going to put this book aside or else I'm going to talk about it for hours and hours. But again, this is the Backyard Herbal Apothecary by Devin Young. Absolutely obsessed with that book. Number one herbal book I would recommend to anybody trying to get into it for sure. This book caught me by surprise. Herbal Medicine for Emotional Healing. I actually somehow missed this. Like, I don't know how. I somehow missed this the entire time I worked at the store, and I'm the herbal girly, so I don't really quite understand it, but I'm happy that I happened to find it before I did this live here. Now, I will say, you know, like I said, as far as any ones that are recommending ingesting any of these herbs, things like that, please speak with a doctor, be careful, yada, yada, right? Just be careful. But here are a couple of the ones that are a little bit like less involved that I do think would benefit anybody, right? So the sinus steam. So this would be combination of herbs that you can use, and you make a little steam out of it, and it helps to clear out your sinuses. So like I said, this time of year, a lot of people are ill, a lot of family members are ill, our sinuses are frustrated because Ohio doesn't know what its weather is doing. So this sinus steam would be a really great way to clear that out. And again, I wanted to talk about this is herbal medicine for emotional healing. Tina Sams, 101 natural remedies for anxiety, depression, sleep, and more. So there's the sinus steam. Let's see what else I marked in here. Oh, okay. So this is a bathtub take me away blend. So this makes enough for 16 baths, which I think is pretty cool because you can reuse it quite a bit. You use rose, elderflowers, Epsom salts, and then milk powder, or just like add in the liquid milk before you take a bath. But this is very, very soothing for your skin and also releases your tense muscles, but it's also soothing for you emotionally too. So really, really recommend this, the Bathtub Take Me Away. Then one of the things that I saw, okay, so something for a seasonal affective disorder. So a lot of us deal with the seasonal affective disorder this time of year. We're not seeing a whole lot of sunlight. It can be kind of sad and depressing. So I do like that they have stuff that is for taking care of that. Okay. So sun and winter tea blend. Oh, how cute. Take this blend to work and drink it during the day to keep a sunny mood. So these would be herbs that would help you stay positive, to keep you in a happy mood. Lemon balm, holy basil, rose, honey, and lemon. So I thought that was awesome as well. A rise and shine bath blend. So instead of like a, hello, how are you? Instead of a bath blend to make you calm and relax, this is one to actually energize you, get you ready for your day. So this would be something for if you're having a hard time finding motivation. It says to use fresh or dried rosemary and then fresh ginger. So you can use dried ginger. I don't care what this says. I think it would work just fine. But okay, so if you're like me, maybe you're a tired mom. Maybe you're just tired of life. But this is a Bright Eyes compress. So it says disturbed sleep, too much screen time, and crying can make your eyes feel sore, tired, and swollen. Just 15 minutes with one of these will help your eyes feel brighter and look better. It may even improve your overall outlook. So 2 tea bags. This would be mint, chamomile, or like I said, echinacea, because, oh, Happy New Year. Thank you. You as well. Echinacea, because it is so anti-inflammatory. So you just do that, brew the tea bags. It's going to be a really strong cup of tea because you're using 2 tea bags. So maybe share with a friend or a partner, right? Cool the tea bags, let them cool, and then place one in each eye, rest, and leave them there for 15 minutes or so. And then, throw them out. It's really, really small, minor things that seriously work. And it looks like that's like the depression section. This is cool. Comforting immunity stew. So this says onion, garlic, ginger, coconut, or olive oil. I'm sorry, this kind of sounds gross to me. I'm not going to lie to you, but maybe my taste is. But anyway, a whole bunch of stuff in that. Okay, build me up tea. I love this. This is a great strengthener that at the same time can make it easier to face things we prefer not to face. So that is this Build Me Up tea blend. Again, for those just joining, this is from the Herbal Medicine for Emotional Healing book. Just discovered it. Very, very much like it. So in this Build Me Up tea blend, it makes 35 1-cup servings. So what's nice about that is like, it might seem like it's a whole lot of herbs at once, but then you can just have it in a big old jar and keep using it. So that's what's nice about making the blend is you have this stuff for when it happens. I think that's the biggest complaint I've heard about like the herbalism is it takes a long time. How am I going to have it? Well, make it ahead of time. You get sick around the same time every year, or you get depressed and get seasonal depression. every time, the same time of year. So, plan ahead would be one of the answers. But also there are other things that you can do that don't require a whole lot of planning. But anyway, Build Me Up Tea Blend, Echinacea, Eleuthero, root, elderberries, astragalus, thyme, honey, lemon. It's a great strengthener. And then it says Restless Circular Thinking Tincture. This is one I could really use, right? Circular thinking is pretty common with anxiety. We're talking about it here under sleep, but it can also manifest as someone working through a problem, talking it through, and then starting all over at the beginning, over and over and over again. Yeah, I could use this. This is a tincture, but you could really make this into a tea as well, just so you know. The reason they're probably doing it as a tincture is because valerian's disgusting. It smells terrible. Apparently, though, one of our artists here, Deborah, I don't know if I should say her last name or not, but she makes a beautiful dotted artwork that's here. Her husband comes in and gets herbs for her sometimes, and he gets valerian, and he makes it into a tea with her. And I'm like, doesn't that taste bad? Because it kind of smells like feet, right? Because it does. Apparently, though, valerian in a tea is definitely not nearly overwhelming with taste as it is a smell. I've been a little bit nervous to test that out because it smells so yucky. I can't do it. But anyway, I will tell you what, valerian smells terrible. It will knock you right out. It will knock you right out. Again, as I've said a million times, consult your doctor. I'm not telling you to do any of those things. This is just information that's been passed down. Do with that what you will. But yeah, lavender, valerian, and passion flower together to help stopping the circular thinking. What that really means is you'll just be put to sleep. This is for like anxiety, holy basil, hawthorn, and lemon. It's a lot of tinctures, but it sort of surprises me. Only because you would think that it would be a little bit more like a lot of tea for bedtime, I guess, right? But there is something for a fear of flying in here, a tincture you can use. Okay, so this looks like for panic and phobias. I can relate to that. I've got a lot of that. So there's the fear of flying tincture. Obviously, you can use this for other things too, okay? But that's a California poppy, which makes me a little suspicious because I'm like, wait, poppy, is it not opiates? I'm not sure. Anyway, California poppy, valerian tincture, and then ginger tincture. Again, I'm sure you can make that all into a tea if you felt inclined. The tincture, though, is easier to take. And then there's this big day tincture. So this is handy for the day of a big test, a job interview, or when you're meeting someone important for the first time. That's very interesting as well. There's something for balance. Okay, this is cool. So this says a balance tea blend. So I blended this lovely tea to address some of the most annoying aspects of premenstrual syndrome, but please don't keep it hidden and only pull it out a few days each month. Instead, serve it anytime your spirit is flagging and causing physical symptoms. Next to each ingredient, you'll find the reason it went into the blend to help explain its usefulness. Love that. It's actually telling you why it's going in there. When they tell you why the herb's going in there, you know that you can add it to different things for that same purpose. So, again, this book is a wealth of knowledge. Like I'd probably, if I was going to recommend two of them, it'd be these guys. Okay. Paired together. They're friends. All right. But again, this is talking about panic and phobias. Okay. So the balanced tea blend, moodiness, cramps, or PMS. So a half-cup nettle, so diuretic, and it supports the adrenals. So for those who don't know, your adrenal glands are the glands in your lower back, kind of close to your kidneys, that produce cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So when our adrenal glands are overactive, then there's a whole lot more cortisol in our body than there needs to be, and we tend to be very, very, very stressed out. That's why often when you are stressed out, when you're upset, when you're feeling emotional, your lower back will start to hurt. It's because your adrenal glands are overactive. Furthermore, if you're somebody like me and you have an autoimmune disorder such as fibromyalgia, lupus, something like that, your adrenal glands probably hate you because your body always feels like it's under attack. So just bear that in mind. So I think honestly, this balanced tea blend, even though it does talk about like PMS, I think you could use this for the autoimmune support for sure. Yeah. Okay, so in this one, yeah, nettle for a diuretic and it supports the adrenals. Nettle is also an excellent antihistamine. So if you have allergy issues, it's a good one. Let's see. A half cup of lemon balm because it calms the nerves. A quarter cup of catnip calms nerves in your tummy. A quarter cup of mimosa bark helps lift your mood, which I've seen that quite a bit, that mimosa helps lift your mood. I think that's very interesting. I can think of a different type of mimosa that lifts my mood. Anyway, tablespoon ginger powder because it soothes the tummy and the pain. See, like that's another thing. You can use ginger root. You can use, like, don't be too, don't take everything so literally here. But then honey and lemon. So, and it looks like this makes a whole lot of, like a lot of it, which is very cool. One for clear thoughts. So ginger, rhodiola, focus. So ashwagandha, rhodiola. Those are ones that maybe aren't as common, huh? That most people wouldn't have. This is cool. Okay, digestivity blend. Love how cute that is. Digestivity blend. So it says it makes 15 1-cup servings. This is what we could use. We all need this. Digestion's tough. Our body doesn't know how to do it, apparently. All right, so it says this tea is tasty and eases many symptoms of poor digestion, such as cramps, bloating, indigestion, and nausea. Some people have trouble swallowing and they're really struggling emotionally. A little liquid can help get the action started, but it's even better to drink a nice hot tea with herbs specifically blended for nervous digestion. I really like that. Reason being is because I talk a lot about the nervous system. I talk a lot about like somatic healing, how when we're stuck in fight or flight, our body kind of doesn't know what to do. That also relates to like the adrenal glands and our cortisol production that I was talking about previously. So that affects everything. I've talked about this before. I'm not going to go off on too big of a tangent, but basically when you're in fight or flight mode, your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. When your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, your body pretty much shuts down all other functions, because if my life's in danger, I don't need to worry about sleep. I'm not going to worry about eating. I'm not going to worry about anything like that, right? Because I'm trying to just save myself right now. So sometimes our body thinks that we're in a lot more mortal danger than we are, okay? We can't tell the difference between, oh my gosh, I failed the test and somebody's coming after me. And we produce those hormones and we pretty much shut down our other systems. So this is a great way to like start those back up, okay? A great way to remind your body like, hey, look, I'm drinking something, it's okay. That's why sometimes they say to ground yourself, to eat, to drink, because it's reminding you like, hey, if I'm doing this, then I can't be in that much danger, right? That was just a side note, but so this is the digestivity blend. So a quarter cup catnip, quarter cup chopped ginger root, and a quarter cup lemon balm. So that is something easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. Everybody has those. And that's what I think too, like some of these are so much more involved than others. So if any of you too have, like, I don't want to just talk at you. So if any of you have herbal remedies that you use or old wives' tales, anything like that that was passed on through generations, especially if your family ever used to utilize things like this, like please comment. I'd be very, very interested to hear what you have to say. And also I'd love to learn about it as well. So yes. Achy breaky tincture. There are times when everything feels tight and fragile. Sometimes it's hard to even pinpoint the pain because it is diffuse, seems to be everywhere. That's achy breaky. I relate so much to this right now. In addition to easing pain, this tincture will probably cause drowsiness, so only take it when it's safe to doze off. Pay attention to that. Only take it when it's safe to doze off. A lot of these herbs, like valerian, for example, passion flower, it can knock you right out. Be very, very careful. It's literally like even more than taking a melatonin, in my opinion. So just be cautious. Like I have said this entire time, do your research, know what you're doing. Don't use me as your source. Don't use these books as your source. Use multiple sources alongside your doctor. But anyway, the achy breaky tincture. So blue vervain tincture, California poppy, St. John's wort, and valerian. That will for sure knock you out. Again, St. John's wort is one that I really just stay away from anyway because it can cause the serotonin syndrome, can affect your birth control. Really recommend not kind of staying off of it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so before the storm nerve tonic. So this is an oxymel. So for anyone who's wondering what that is, an oxymel is basically like a tincture, but it's apple cider vinegar instead of alcohol. That's great because you can have your kids actually take that if you can get them to swallow it down. Highly, highly doubt that, but you know, maybe yours is nicer than mine. This blend combines adaptogens, which are herbs that specifically help your body adapt to and manage stress, calms and supports the nervous system, and can be used on a regular basis. So this is kind of going into like the Ayurveda type of healing, a little bit more above than what I normally do. Not to say that it doesn't work. Like I'm sure that it does. I just have not done this personally. So I just want to preface it by saying that. But this would have the ashwagandha, astragalus, lemon balm, chamomile, eleuthero, holy basil, and then you do the apple cider vinegar and honey. And it says it can be used on a regular basis, which is nice. Okay, nerve support elixir. This is really cool. This elixir combines herbs that address more acute nervous upsets and go on to support and nourish nerves to increase resilience. So skullcap, motherwort, chamomile, astragalus, milky oats, honey, and alcohol. And you would combine all of those in a medium jar, add the honey until it's about a third full, and use the knife to mix it in with the herbs. Fill the rest of the jar with your alcohol of choice, cover it and shake well, and leave that for about 2 to 4 weeks. Then strain it all, bottle it into 6-ounce dropper bottles, label and date. That is the other part that's so important. Okay, label and date it. These do go bad. They will not last forever. Yeah, these are cool. So I'm for sure buying this book. This is To Calm Anger, blue vervain. What's cool too, it has a lot of information in the beginning of this as well. So, you know, I was going to go into other books, but honestly, I think that talking about those two was enough. That is probably these are the most extensive ones that we have here in the store. Now we do have this little beginner herbal kit here that Lucinda so graciously put together for us. So that has mugwort, bay leaves, chamomile, lavender, and lemongrass. It's only $6. So that would be an excellent option for somebody who wants to kind of get into this stuff. We do carry quite a few of the other herbs that were mentioned as well. Here's a mortar and pestle that you can use for the grinding of the herbs, for making a poultice, cauldron for burning, a little herbal grinder here. So we have quite a few things here at Goddess Elite that you can use. So yeah, definitely recommend even just like reading about it. This is good information to have for even like not to use, but just to know, right? We never know what's going to happen. The world ends. I always tell Brandon, I'll know how to forage at least. So that's what I got. But anyway, yeah, it looks like a couple people are joining. So talking about these two books here, Herbal Medicines for Emotional Healing. Then I'm talking about the Backyard Herbal Apothecary. Truly don't know which one I like more right now because I just started reading this one. This is my tried and true. I've made quite a few recipes from this one. If any of you have, like I said, different herbal remedies, different herbal healing options, things that were passed on in your family, please let me know. I'd be so interested to hear what you have to say. All right. I think I'm going to end it there. I am just going to mention a few of the other books that we have. So we have Weedy Wisdom here. The cover of this is so cute. So cute. This is all about foraging and using the herbs that are growing around locally. My qualm with this is it doesn't have like pictures, just like illustrations and stuff. Definitely one that you would want to use as a reference paired alongside with another book. This is probably the most popular one. It's Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs. I mean, I do like this, don't get me wrong. But again, the Backyard Herbal Apothecary is probably my favorite. Rosemary Gladstar is much more well known though. This is a plant spirit medicine book. Very visually appealing. The book itself, super cute. I haven't fully read through this one. This seems a lot more involved. But very visually appealing. This book is also awesome. This is the Witch's Herbal Apothecary. And this goes into like the seasons and stuff too, right? So when is a good time to do all of these things? When are these herbs growing? And lastly, this herbal magic planner that we have. If you really like herbs, if you really like the aesthetic of herbs, and you really need to get organized, check out this planner. All of these things are available at the store, and all of them should be on the website. But if they're not, please let us know, either DM or a whisper, and we will get it up there for you. I'm going to give another maybe 30 seconds to a minute for anybody to ask any questions that they have or comments, concerns. And if not, I'm probably going to end it there. But I do so appreciate you all listening. If you ever have questions in store, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out because I do work here and read here. So also occasionally teach classes, which maybe I'll have to start one on the herbalism stuff here. But does anyone have anything else to say? All right, everyone. Well, I'm going to end it there, but thank you so much for listening. And again, if you have any questions, please send us a whisper, and definitely check out these books if you want to get into herbalism. Thank you.